lied to me.
I am truly sorry. I just wanted to know if you loved me.
No one truly knew Daniel Cross. To the world, he was invisible, just another man struggling to survive in a city that crushed the weak and worshipped the rich. He wore simple clothes, lived in a small apartment, took public transport, and spoke softly, as though he had learned long ago that the loudest people were often the most empty. But Daniel Cross was not poor. He was a billionaire, founder and owner of Cross Holdings, a business empire so powerful that a single signature from him could collapse companies or build fortunes overnight. His name carried weight in boardrooms, fear among competitors, and admiration from those who chased wealth. Yet Daniel had chosen to disappear. Years earlier, he had learned a painful lesson, that money attracts many things, but genuine love is rarely one of them. Women smiled too quickly when they learned his name. Friends became loyal only when his wallet was open. Every relationship felt like a transaction. He grew tired of being loved for what he had instead of who he was. So he vanished from that world. He handed control of his company to trusted executives, changed his name, simplified his life, and decided to live as an ordinary man. He wanted one thing: to find someone who would choose him without knowing his worth. That decision led him to Amara. She worked at a small book cafe near a noisy bus stop, a place most people ignored. Amara was different. She didn't rush through life. She spoke gently, smiled easily, and listened like she genuinely cared. She had the kind of calm that soothed restless hearts. Daniel noticed her on a rainy evening. He walked into the cafe, soaked, tired, and frustrated after a long day of pretending to be someone else. Amara looked up from the counter and smiled at him, not the forced smile people used for customers, but a warm, human one.
So, what's your favorite drink here? I might need to try it.
Definitely the espresso. It's bold, just like this conversation.
Please, Daniel said, do you have somewhere I can sit? Anywhere you like, she replied. That was how it began. He returned the next day. And the next. Sometimes they talked. Sometimes they sat in silence. Slowly, comfort grew into connection, and connection into something deeper. Amara spoke about her dreams, a simple life, peace, love that didn't come with conditions. She spoke about how money impressed people but kindness stayed with them. Daniel listened.
You know, I've been thinking about us a lot lately.
Really? That's so sweet to hear.
His heart tightening with every word. For the first time in his life, someone was falling in love with him without knowing his bank balance, his influence, or his power. When he finally asked her out, his voice shook. She said yes without hesitation. Their relationship was simple and pure. No expensive dinners, no luxury vacations, just walks, laughter, shared meals, and deep conversations under streetlights. Daniel had never been happier. Many times, he wanted to tell her the truth. But fear held him back. Fear that the moment she knew, everything would change. So he waited. When he proposed with a modest ring, Amara cried. She didn't care that it wasn't expensive. She didn't care that it wasn't flashy. She cared that the man she loved was kneeling in front of her. She said yes, but love does not exist in isolation. Amara's family despised Daniel. They saw his clothes, his quiet nature, his lack of visible wealth. They called him a mistake, a burden, a future disaster. At family gatherings, he was mocked openly. What exactly do you do for a living? Can you even afford marriage? Love won't feed children. Daniel heard everything, and said nothing. Amara defended him fiercely, again and again, but constant pressure wears down even the strongest hearts. One person in the family paid closer attention, her cousin Lydia. Lydia was sharp, observant, and bitter. Something about Daniel didn't add up. He was too calm, too composed, too unbothered by humiliation.
I'll be fine,
One
thank
afternoon, Lydia followed him. She watched a luxury car pull up beside him. She saw a man step out and bow slightly in respect. She heard Daniel say quietly, "Not here." That was enough. Daniel was hiding something. Instead of telling Amara the truth, Lydia chose manipulation. She whispered doubt into Amara's ears. "He's strange. He has no ambition. Are you sure he won't ruin your life?" Slowly, doubt replaced certainty. Amara still loved Daniel, but love mixed with fear is dangerous. The family intensified their attacks. At one gathering, Amara's uncle laughed loudly and asked Daniel how many chairs his salary could buy for the wedding. The laughter burned. That night, Amara cried in Daniel's arms. "I'm tired," she whispered. "I'm always fighting everyone." Daniel held her, guilt tearing him apart. Still, he didn't tell the truth. Then came Victor, rich, confident, Everything Daniel appeared not to be. Lydia arranged meetings under false pretenses. Victor spoke of power, money, and security. He never insulted Daniel directly, he didn't have to. Comparison did the damage. 2 weeks before the wedding, Daniel arrived late to a family meeting due to an emergency he couldn't explain. Amara stood alone and absorbed every insult meant for him. When Daniel finally arrived, she exploded. "You're always calm while I suffer. You never fight for us." The argument shattered something between them. That night, Daniel decided. He would tell her everything. On the wedding day, he believed truth would save them. He didn't know the truth would destroy the room. The morning of the wedding arrived quietly. Too quietly. Amara woke up with a heaviness in her chest she couldn't explain. As makeup artists moved around her and family members whispered excitedly, she stared at her reflection and felt strangely disconnected from the woman in the mirror. She loved Daniel. She knew she did, but fear had wrapped itself tightly around her heart. Fear of suffering, fear of regret, fear that love might not be enough. Outside, guests filled the hall. Some came to celebrate, others came to watch what they believed would be a mistake unfold. Whispers moved faster than smiles. "He's still poor. She could have done better. Let's see how this ends." Daniel arrived alone. No convoy, no display, just a simple suit and calm eyes. What no one noticed was the line of black luxury cars parked far from the venue, waiting silently. The ceremony began. Amara walked down the aisle, her eyes fixed on Daniel. For a moment, everything else disappeared. It was just the two of them again, like those quiet evenings at the cafe. But the peace didn't last. Just before the vows, Lydia stood. "I'm sorry," she said loudly, her voice sweet but sharp, "but we cannot continue like this." The room froze. Amara turned, confused. Daniel felt his stomach tighten. Lydia walked forward, holding her phone. "This man," she said, pointing at Daniel, "is not who he claims to be." Gasps rippled through the crowd. "He has been lying to you," Lydia continued. "He pretends to be poor, but no one knows where he really gets his money from. What if he's a criminal? What if he's dangerous?" Murmurs turned into accusations. Amara's hands trembled. "Daniel," she whispered, "what is she talking about?"
I'm sorry.
Before he could answer, Victor stood up. "This is ridiculous," he said, pretending concern. "Amara deserves security, not secrets." Daniel looked at Amara. Pain filled his eyes. "I wanted to tell you," he said softly. "I swear I did." Tears welled up in her eyes. "So tell me now," she said, her voice breaking. "Who are you?" Daniel took a deep breath. The hall was silent. "I hid my identity," he said calmly. "Because I wanted to be loved for who I am." Laughter erupted. "Listen to him. What identity? Another lie." Daniel raised his hand, and that was when the doors opened. The sound of polished shoes echoed across the floor. Men in tailored suits walked in confidently. Behind them were executives known to everyone in the business world. Faces recognized from television, from magazines, from news headlines. The room fell into stunned silence. One of the men stepped forward and bowed slightly. "Sir," he said clearly, "the board is ready. Cross Holdings awaits your instructions." Shock ripped through the hall. Phones dropped. Mouths hung open. Breaths were forgotten. Daniel Cross, the billionaire. Amara staggered backward. Her legs gave way. Daniel
You lied to me.
I am truly sorry. I just wanted to know if you loved me.
rushed to her side and held her. "I never wanted to hurt you," he whispered. "I just wanted something real." Lydia's phone slipped from her hand. Victor froze, his face drained of color. The same people who mocked Daniel moments earlier now stood frozen, ashamed, terrified. Amara looked up at him through tears. "All this time," she whispered, "you watched me suffer." Guilt crushed him. "I wanted to protect what we had," he said. "But I was wrong." Silence filled the room. Amara stood slowly. She looked around at the faces that had judged him. Then she looked back at Daniel, the man she loved, and the man who had lied. "I loved you when I thought you were nothing," she said softly. "But you took away my right to choose." She removed the ring. Gasps echoed. "I need time," she said. And she walked away. Daniel didn't stop her, because sometimes love must walk away to survive. Weeks passed. The story spread everywhere. Lydia lost respect. Victor disappeared. The family that mocked Daniel now begged for forgiveness. Daniel waited. He didn't chase Amara with money or power. He waited with honesty. One evening, she returned to the cafe. He was there. They sat in silence. "I loved you before the truth," she said. "And I still love you after." But never lie to me again. Daniel nodded, tears in his eyes. I won't. Love didn't need to be tested anymore. Because it had already survived the truth.